My girlfriends, there. Hello friends, family, and everyone in between. My name is Kaylin Edwards and this is my very random YouTube channel. Piper, you really don't need anything. Anyway, I just want to give a big shout out to LaGuardia Cross for not only liking my previous video, for commenting on it and sharing it with his subscribers. So welcome all new subscribers who came from him, because I know a lot of you did come from his channel. But I just want to say a really big thank you, because he really didn't have to do that. I didn't expect that. I honestly didn't expect him to even notice my video, let alone watch it and then, you know, share it with his people. But I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful for him doing that. If you want to see the video that I'm referring to, it's where I talk about underrated YouTubers, and you can look at that. Hopefully I put it up here somewhere if I remember. Today is different because I am not talking about underrated things. However, I am talking about, you know what, actually I am talking about underrated things, because these shows that I just grew up watching are so underrated. I don't see them on cable anymore. They're not on Netflix, they're not on Hulu, but they were like iconic when I was growing up. Now I know I titled this TV shows that my mom made me watch growing up, hopefully if I still stuck to that title, which she did. I mean, a lot of these came out when I was like 7, 8, 9, so I wasn't watching any of these shows on purpose. I lived in an apartment with my mom. It was just me and my mom, so odds are I was forced to watch it because she didn't want to watch Little Bear or Roly Poly Oly anymore. I just wanted to share some of these shows in case you've seen them, in case you haven't, and maybe we can just reminisce together, go through the old times, think about how great and iconic and just amazing these shows were. And you know, I can voice my opinion from someone who watched them when they were 7, 8, and 9. The first show that I have, honestly, when I first thought of it, the first thing that came to my mind was the intro, because the intro in itself was just so delicious and just so like, my girlfriends, there. That's all I know of it. But come on, like, the show I'm referring to is Girlfriends. Now, Girlfriends was like Black people's version of Sex and the City with way more flavor. Just my personal opinion. I've seen both shows. They're both great on their own, but let's be honest, that's pretty much what it was. Girlfriends consisted of 4 Black women, 4 very beautiful, talented, successful Black women making it out there in the city, going through relationships, marriage, kids. It aired from 2000 to 2008, which 2000 I was 5 years old, 2008 I was 13 years old. So needless to say, I was very young when this show was running, but I do remember it coming on BET, which a lot of these shows, when, you know, before there was Netflix and Hulu and all these streaming services, you had to watch stuff on cable. And so BET was my network of choice that we watched in my household, other than of course Nickelodeon, Disney, and Cartoon Network sometimes, but it got really perverted. My mom didn't want me watching it that much. Girlfriends is the first thing that I remember seeing Tracee Ellis Ross on anything, and that was before I even knew her name or the legacy that her mother had made, and just all her attractive brother. I do think her younger brother, I forget what his name is. I think he dated like one of the Simpson girls or whatever. That was the first time I ever saw Tracee Ellis Ross in anything, and now it's like you see her everywhere. She hosted the BET Awards, she's on Blackish, like she's doing the damn thing. But not only was she on it, she played a character named Joan. Then there was Jill Marie Jones, who played Antoinette. Persia White played Lynn and Cersei. Oh my gosh, I really don't remember all these characters. And now my favorite character, played by Golden Brooks, was Maya. And I only remember her because she had the very sarcastic, very outrageous personality with the heavy ass eyelashes. I just remember her eyes just always felt like they were weighing down, like something was weighing down her eyes at all times. But she was my favorite on the show, even though the show centered around Tracee Ellis Ross's character. Okay, so I'm shook. I was just looking up, just trying to get all the actors' names together, and on here it says the game was a spin-off of Girlfriends. No way I'm the only one who didn't know this. Girlfriends was just such a flavorful, just wonderful show. It had 4 strong Black women, like I said, who were successful. They were managing not only relationships, but bonding between them and dealing with a bunch of stuff. Like I said, I wanted to be Maya. Maya was my character of choice. They were like the Charlie's Angels. You had to pick one and stick with them, and that was gonna be like your character. So I was Maya in my own little fantasy world as an 8-year-old watching Girlfriends on BET. Another show that my mom always had playing in our house, which I actually did. There was another show that I will say that I liked it as a kid and I like it now because it still comes on BET every so often. The Parkers. Anyone who watched BET, I know you had to be watching The Parkers because they used to rerun those shows like crazy. And that was another show that the intro in itself was just great. We're in the Parkers. We're in the Parkers. Something like that. That was another amazing show that came on. The Parkers aired from 1999 to 2004. Again, 1999, I was 4 years old. I'm not trying to make y'all feel old. I'm just giving y'all perspective to let y'all know I was young when I was watching all these shows. The Parkers was how I was introduced to Monique, and I know she went on to do a bunch of movies. What was it? Was it Fat Girls? Was that the movie that she was in? It was really great. I love that movie. And then she did Charm School. That's what it's called. I literally just watched that on Hulu not too long ago. So I know she did all that. Monique, you know, is a boss. Regardless of how you feel about her currently and all the stuff that she's going through, she's a boss. She's a great actress. She has done so much in the Black community and just like in her acting career in general. And The Parkers was the first show that I was introduced to her. I know she does stand-up and all that stuff. And The Parkers was hilarious. And I love the dynamic on that show because it centered less around like Girlfriends was about, you know, girlfriends just navigating friendships, relationships, love, all those commitments in life, while The Parkers was focused more on the dynamic between the mother and the child, which was great because, you know, like I said before, it was just me and my mom living together for quite some time. I want to say for like 8-9 years of my life before, you know, my sister Kaylee came in and ruined it all. My mom wasn't over the top like Nikki was, but still, I just love the dynamic between the single mother. However, her and the professor, what's his face? Nikki's like relationship with Professor Ogilvy, like that entire thing, even though it was drawn out, it lasted forever. I just love the back and forthness with it, and the comedic attitude and the comedic just structure of that entire show was done very well. Like a lot of the stuff that, you know, we may see as corny or just we may roll our eyes at nowadays if we see it on other shows, like The Parkers did it in a very tasteful way and they kept you entertained. The show was never, to me, it never felt corny, even though, let's be honest, all the characters were over the top. Poor Kim, just poor Kim. Like I said, these cringy type characters that if we saw them on regular TV now, we would just be like, okay, you're doing too much. But The Parkers, they did it so well and they were so great, and it's just so funny. Who else loved The Parkers? Raise your hand. Who else loved The Parkers? And that show that, you know, my mom had playing in the house, and I wasn't like in love with this show, but it was on all the time and I liked the music. And the show I'm referring to is the Jamie Foxx show. I'm not shitting on that show. I'm not saying it was bad, it was awful, but it wasn't a show that I was like growing up I really enjoyed. It was, again, the first time that I was introduced to Jamie Foxx. I didn't know he could sing. I knew he was an actor for the longest time. The first episode of the Jamie Foxx show aired in 1996. Good God. 1996, I was 1. And then the last episode, the final episode, aired in 2001. So hell yeah, I was watching reruns on BET. Did not know that he could sing until this show, because let's be honest, he plugged in his singing and all the musical stuff and playing the piano and guitar and all that stuff. He plugged that into the show very consistently. I remember there was one episode where he was writing like a wedding song.
Boo, will you marry the kid? We'll have some little booze run around the crib asking for the breast milk, but I get first dibs.
Well, it's just another comedy, a classic comedy. I think it's a classic because, let's be honest, a lot of people who know Jamie Foxx and have followed his career know him from the Jamie Foxx show. Like I said, I didn't really hate it, but it was a show that my mom had on in the house all the time. I think I didn't really connect with this show because it wasn't women, and the only girl in there was, you know, being drooled after by Jamie Foxx all the time, and I didn't really care for their relationship like that. Personal opinion, it was definitely his show. Like, it was his show. It was the Jamie Foxx show. The last show that I'm going to talk to you guys about is a show that, like, I I know my mom played it in the house, but I don't think my mom paid attention to it, because if you were like me and you grew up in the early 2000s, not sorry, your mom kept BET running in the house without actually paying attention to it. For some reason she did that, but if I flushed too many times then she would get angry. I don't know. My mom picked and choose what to get triggered by. And another show that came on was The Wayans Bros. The Wayans Bros aired from 1995 to 1999, which wasn't a long time, but damn was that old. Wow. But that came on in our house all the time, and the Wayans Bros were hilarious. I did not know them from this show. Like, I was not introduced to them from this show. Like most people my age, you were probably introduced to them by Scary Movie, if you were allowed to watch it, which again, I don't know why my dad was letting me watch Scary Movie, because it was definitely perverted, but I couldn't watch Courage the Cowardly Dog. It did give me nightmares, I will say that. So they were the iconic duo behind the Scary movies. They were in the first one and the second one, and then something happened and they weren't in the third and the fourth and all the rest of them, and that's when it started to get real. It started to lack flavor, if you know what I'm talking about. And I did not know for the longest time that they had their own show. But The Wayans Bros was another just iconic black comedy show that came on BET again. And it's kind of like, The Wayans Bros was kind of like the flip side of the Parkers. Instead of like the single mother and the daughter, it was the single father and the two kids. And it was just a different perspective, a different relationship, a different dynamic, but all the comedy and just all the different crazy circumstances that they got themselves into. And the Wayans Bros are very talented, like the entire family. I'm not just talking about the two. The entire family is very talented. They know how to hit these comedic beats. They know how to tell a story while maintaining comedy, but also implementing other more serious emotions, but not taking away from the show. I'm telling you, all these shows just in general have very rememberable, hope I'm saying that right, rememberable, oh my god, am I saying that right? They all had these intros that were very creative and just were like iconic all on their own, separate from the show. Even if you don't remember the show and the episodes and all the different stuff, you still remember the intros. Like, they put effort into their intros. It wasn't something like nowadays where it's very just quick, or it's just a split second, or they're like, hey, yeah, this is a show, bye, back into it. No, they put effort into their intros. We're brothers, we're happy, we're singing, and we're colored.
Give me a high five.
I also had another just iconic member of not only the black community, but just a comedic genius, John Witherspoon. He played their dad in the show, and unfortunately he passed away a while ago. Piper! He was just part of all of our growing up, our childhood, our television shows, our favorite movies. Like, he was that man. And it was just a very nice show to watch. Hilarious, dealt with love, brotherly love, fatherly love. It was just nice to see a black dad on television, and a single black dad at that, because let's be honest, how many shows have actually touched on topics like that, or even talked about anything along those lines? I can't really think of any. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about all these shows. Did you watch any of these shows? What was your favorite episode? What did you like, dislike? Anything that you agree with, disagree with? You know, just let me know. Just let me know in the comment section. I try to stay very active in the comment section. Comment on as many people's different posts as I can. And so I just like the conversation. Let's talk. Let me know. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. We will see you all next time. Bye.